light that shines, the thread of human hope. It is love that comes and truly binds. It is love that you should know.
Here we are at the Phoenix Bookstore in Santa Monica to listen to Helen Caldicott. The woman's fantastic, she really is. She's helping to save the planet. She's amazing. How's it going?
Welcome to planet Earth.
I know it. It's a great place, isn't it, huh? It's better than the alternative, isn't it?
Oh, so far.
Yeah. So, what do you think of Helen?
I love her. I respect and admire her enormously. I think she deserves the Nobel Peace Prize.
She certainly is no Johnny-come-lately to this environmental thing.
Oh, no.
Huh?
She's a veteran.
Yeah.
She helped start Physicians for Social Responsibility, I think.
Yes, that's right.
And the guys in the group kind of stole the Peace Prize from her.
Yeah. Oh, I know it. And I met her in '76 in Seabrook.
Oh, really?
When she was saying some rather cool things about a very popular
nuclear power plant.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone thought nuclear power was great. Well, we've learned a little bit since then, but
really.
Thank God she's still out there doing it, huh?
3 Mile Island and Chernobyl. And
yeah, et cetera, et cetera.
It's like, you know, they want to build 200 new nuclear power plants, but they haven't even trained the people properly to run the ones that we have. It's kind of scary. It's like, you know, hey guys, we're going to do more booby traps. It's like, oh, wow, geez, you know.
Yeah, I know it.
Substandard education, and then, you know, put these people to work on nuclear power plants so they can fall asleep there and, you know, not know what to do there either. So.
But even that, you know, I remember back then that was such a big issue, but even that is tame by comparison with all the other issues.
There's just so much more. It's not so much tame, it just takes its place as an integral part of this whole network of just bad business that America has been conducting.
Yeah.
America has become a bad business.
It's time to do good business.
It's time to do good business.
Yeah, and people like Helen are people that you gotta listen to.
Oh, beyond.
She's
Helen
so
Caldicott.
I mean, from a young woman's point of view, she's like a mentor figure, and we need so many more people like that in the world. We're so lucky to have her. She's the embodiment of the goddess right here.
So are you going to get a copy of this book?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because I believe in everything she's talking about.
Yeah, Helen Caldicott is really someone that people should really listen to.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Caldicott, if you love this planet. Oh, it's a good book you guys picked up today, hey?
Yeah, well, I haven't read it yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. Mostly, I have a stack of books right next to my bed that I don't read, but I guarantee you I'm going to read this whole book.
Me too.
Well, that woman does not speak with forked tongue.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
No, I know that. I've seen her speak a few times. I heard her on the radio last night. I've heard her many times. I'm so in love with her. She's so incredible.
The cultures on Earth are being destroyed by this sort of panache or patina of corporate culture. The ads in Australia are exactly the same as yours, except the accents differ. And so we get brainwashed just like you to buy things we never wanted, never needed. You know, how do they sell stuff here? There's a beautiful girl walking along, beautiful body, and she's wearing this sort of tampon. There's an American flag in the background, waving softly. So the message, and beautiful sexy music, and the message is good American women use this sort of tampon, so there's nationalism coming into it. And if she wears this sort of tampon, she'll have good sex till she dies. That's the message. And they use the best psychologists that Madison Avenue can gather to sell things that we don't need. Tampons are made of trees. They contain dioxin, which is carcinogenic and can be absorbed through the mucosal epithelium of the vagina. So you don't put dioxin in your vagina. Now that's just one little snippet of information that amused that kid. That I've put in the book, but I've described ozone depletion, greenhouse warming, toxic waste. 8 out of 10 Americans live near a toxic waste dump, radioactive waste, species extinction, deforestation, and the ever-present threat of nuclear war. And then I get on to overpopulation of us. And I think it's time that each family had one child. 3 million years to get to 1 million of us, and now there are 5.4 billion, and that has happened over the last 200 years. 200. years, from 1 billion to 5.4. And the middle of next century it'll be 14 billion. And then what do? The planet's already dying. We're like a plague of locusts hanging around the planet, yet we think we're the most magnificent gift to the earth, because it says in Genesis we were given dominion over the planet. But then I would submit, who wrote Genesis? The koalas that are endangered? Or the elephants? No, we did. I swim with the dolphins in the morning where I live. Gorgeous, graceful creatures with brains as big as ours. Do you think they say to each other, well, Joe, tonight I think I'll have a human steak for dinner? We are so rapacious. We have no understanding of how sacred life is until our life is threatened. I met a man the other day who has prostatic cancer with metastases. And he lived a life as a filmmaker, busy as hell, his relationships never worked, but he was striving towards a goal that he didn't really understand. And then he got cancer. Hey, you kids, shh, okay, be quiet. He got cancer, and he said every day is holy. That he sees a rose now and really understands what that rose means. And what a gift it was to be endowed with life. Now it's threatened. And we take everything so for granted, don't we? And we think the Earth's natural resources are here for us to exploit with impunity. Well, they're not. And the Earth is reaching a point where it's saying, okay, that's it. Reaching a point of total systems collapse, which is what we say in medicine. A patient gets so sick that there's nothing we can do to save the patient. The heart gives out. The liver gives out. The kidneys can't filter the blood anymore. And the patient dies. And we're getting to that point. So severe is it. There's a conference in Rio, in Brazil, in June. The leaders of all the world's countries are going, except George Herbert Walker Bush. He, in the last 3 weeks, has violated the Clean Air Act by cutting up regulations for auto emission. He's violated an act which protected workers in the workplace and said it's okay to expose them to more toxins, because if they cut the exposure to toxins for the workers, then industry would lose too much money. That's murder. Murder. You don't murder people. It says in the Bible, thou shalt not kill. They don't drop dead bang. They take a while to get their cancers, and the cancer doesn't wear a little flag saying, I was made by some vinyl chloride you inhaled at this plant. Where is the country going? What do these people think they're doing? Where's the compassion? Where's the integrity that once Jefferson had? Or Lincoln? How is it happening when anything goes and there are no morals? All to make money. Okay, and don't ask me what to do. No one's ever told me. You work it out yourselves. Depends how much you love and how much passion you've got. You've got so much passion, it's unbelievable. Turn it into action. There's a question at the back.
This isn't something I want to say, but
You may as well say it.
I unfortunately really believe that the human species isn't capable of everything that you're saying. There's a few, and I think it's ingrained in them to be selfish, warlike, and greedy. And I just have a real pessimistic view, and unfortunately I don't want that. So
Okay.
I just
I'll answer that. I'll answer that. I've just been through a traumatic time in my life. My marriage broke down and I've been divorced. Never thought in my life I'd ever be divorced, and I am. And I was pretty lost and felt pretty pessimistic. And I'd worked hard about the nuclear arms race and I was pessimistic. I was seeing a psychologist, paid for by the government, so it was free and it was great. And every time I saw her, I left with a sense of great peace. And I thought, this isn't right because I'm not a peaceful purpose. And I'd try and sabotage the sense of peace, and it didn't work. Kept going back to her, and after 6 months I respected her so much. She said, there's one thing I want you to do, and it's called soul attunement. And I thought, oh, another Californian seminar, you know. Anyway, so I actually went, and I spent 3 days, and it changed my life. And what actually, it's soul attunement. What actually happens is that you fall in love with your soul. Now that sounds sort of crappy, doesn't it? No. But I help to teach in these seminars now, and you actually, the process is fantastic, and you give birth to the soul of the person. The other crap goes momentarily, and the person gets in touch with the most extraordinary love, the essence of the soul. And I have to tell you, it's changed my life. I have no pessimism like you do, because I've seen it, and I've given birth to lots of babies, and it's a similar feeling. And to see the joy in people's faces is absolutely amazing, and they are changed. Now, you can't do soul attunement for the whole planet, but I can tell you that having experienced that, and also as a physician, seeing people dying who've lived quite wicked lives, businessmen who've done awful things, as they're dying, their soul opens up like a rosebud, and I look in, and there's the most extraordinary beauty. Sometimes if they get better, it closes up again, but I've glimpsed it. Therefore, I have great optimism. I think people are capable of the most amazing, wondrous works of beauty and unselfishness. Read the literature from the concentration camps. Who's the guy who wrote a wonderful book? What? Viktor Frankl. Read his book. What's it called? Man's Search for Meaning. Incredible wisdom and strength and power we all have. We've been brainwashed to think we haven't, and people say, well, what can I do? Like a 5-year-old child, and they have to say, open your mouth, here's your pap, baby. You're all adults. More adult than George Bush at the moment, or Henry Kissinger, who works for the Chinese government, gets $75 million from his contracts to the Chinese government. That was on 60 Minutes the other day, but you have profound wisdom. And to be in the victim mentality and say, well, what can I do? No, well, why don't they do anything? Well, or, bloody hell, I'm not going to let... I debated with a nuclear power guy 2 days ago on the television. And he said, he knew what he was talking about, and he was a scientist, he was a health physicist. And I said, well, I'm a paediatrician. He said, well, you know, nuclear power is totally safe. And I said, actually, you're a PR man for the nuclear power industry. He said, no, I'm not, I'm a health physicist, this, and I read off all his accomplishments, and he was a PR man. And the interviewer said, come on, you are a PR man for the nuclear industry. And then he said, well, the AMA supports nuclear power. So I got on the phone this morning and I rang the AMA and I said, I want to speak to the top person. Well, I think I got the PR person again. He wasn't terribly bright, but and they've had a committee on nuclear power, and who was on it? Norman Rasmussen, who is one of the biggest nuclear power advocates in this country, Arthur Upton. It was stacked with nuclear power people, which is totally unethical. I used to be a bit scared. I'm not scared anymore of anyone. So, because we can't be scared and we can't need approval. If you say things to get approval, then you're not speaking your truth or the essence of your soul. If you say, have a nice day, or how are you, fine, that's probably a lie, because most of you don't really feel fine when you say you're fine. Say, I feel lousy, thanks. I just had a fight with my husband, my kid's on drugs, and I feel sick. You know, that's the truth. And then at least you've got a decent conversation going. You say, yeah, I don't feel too good either. Let's go and have a coffee, you know, and talk about it. But at least you're speaking the truth. These are just seeds of thoughts, okay, little pearls. But you're all full of a great treasure chests of wisdom. And you don't need to ask me, read the books. I think it'll stimulate your thinking. But don't have to copy anyone else. Each do your own thing, and don't seek approval. Listen to your own soul and follow that. And don't, you know, take wisdom from other people, but make your own decisions, and above all, be passionate. Thank you.
Why the book?
Why did you write this book now, and why the title of the book?
Because there are so many things that people have to learn, and if they understand what's happening to the Earth, they will decide to act differently to save the Earth. And it's called If You Love This Planet, because if you do love the planet, you'll save it.
You're a physician. You've been very active in the environmental movement before people even knew there was an environmental movement. I mean, you're a voice that people should listen to. What makes your book different than some of the other books?
Because I've talked about why the planet's dying, and I've dared to start talking about the multinationals, the media controlled by the multinationals, how America's been really brainwashed since the end of the First World War to accept rampant capitalism and destruction of the environment, and the fact that people don't have free medical care, etc. And then I talk about education, etc., and then I talk about the cure.
So you're not afraid to name names?
Of course not. I mean, we must speak the truth, mustn't we?
And prescribe the cure. And what is the cure? I know it's not a simple one, but then again, maybe it is.
It's absolutely simple. It's turning this place into a democracy so that everyone votes and the Congress represents the people and not the corporations. And if you read the book, If You Love This Planet, it's all there. It's very simple.
Okay, so people should go out and read that book.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay.
It's nice to see you again after all these years.
Okay, bye.
Take care.
Yes.
Tom, I've got something for you. A little airplane reading.
So what do you think? Did you listen to Helen tonight?
Yeah, sure.
She's fabulous, isn't she?
Oh, she's very good, yeah.
Yeah, she's good. What do you think of Helen? What you just heard Helen speak, what do you think?
Well, Helen Caldicott, I've been on her for many years, and she's one of the persons I admire most.
Yeah.
I think she's right on. Everything she had to say, especially about the corporations being anachronistic and ruining the earth, I agree. And I agreed with what she said about GE owning NBC. And I think in this country, the media are not owned by the people, but they are owned by the giant corporations whose interest is to make more money, even if it kills the planet in 20 years. I think these people are amoral and immoral and corrupt, and they don't see the big picture, and the big picture is that we are being destroyed in the name of money. I'm not against money, I'm not against business, but I agree with Helen Caldicott. I'm for small business and a sustainable future. The people I admire in this country, I'll tell you who they are. They are Carl Sagan, Ted Turner, Tom Hayden, and Fred Siegel, who owned this place.
Yeah, Fred's a pretty good businessman. He's a green businessman.
Yeah.
And Helen's a doctor. She's a good doctor.
Right.
You know, she has the prescription.
Yeah,
you know?
the prescription for the planet. That's why I bought her book.
That's right. And that's in that book. What's it called again? Let's look at that. It's called If You Love This Planet. Yep. Right. It's right in there, the prescription from the doctor. Yeah, I love it. All right, hey, thanks.
No problem.
We'll be in touch.